Hey guys, this is your French baguette Zola, and today I'm gonna tell you all you need to know about Cultist Heretic. First, we are a melee healer, which means that most of your healing will come from damage output. There is three things to manage on the spec: Black Blood, Sanity, and Mana. Black Blood is your healing over time effect applied by Malevolence. Your Sanity is given by using Blade of the Empire and Malevolence. Mana can be regained with Sanity Tap, which gives you 20% mana back for 20 Sanity. For the toolkit of the class, we have a few things. First, Blade of the Empire. The main ability you will be spamming a lot. It's your number one sanity generator while providing a good amount of healing for your party. Next, Malevolence. The spell is a melee cast that applies Black Blood at the end of the cast and generate 10 sanity. Then we have Gaze of Cthulhu. Gaze is an instant cast that either damages enemies or heals your allies. It can do both at the same time since it chains to 3 targets. You will be using this spell like a lay of hands from paladins because when you use it, you will be proccing your talent Void Touch. Void Touch is a buff that stacks 10 times when you do direct healing. When you use Gaze, the buff is consumed and does a burst of healing for about 3 to 4k. Next, Hammer of Twilight and Anthropic Slam. These spells are your main spender abilities. Hammer for single target and Anthropic for AoE. They both contribute to healing since they are melee abilities. Finally, Herald of the Depth. Herald is your burst form. Aside from buffing you for 15% damage and healing, the duration of Black Blood and Void Shield applied during the spell will be doubled. Now, let's showcase on the target dummy the single target and AoE rotation. Single target will be on the left side of the screen and AoE on the right side. They are quite similar. First, we use Malevolence twice to stack Black Blood. Then you want to generate 80 sanity, so you can press Herald of the Depth. You can press Tentacles of Cthulhu if you want, since it's free of mana above 60 sanity. It's up to you. Then you can start spending your sanity on Hammer of Twilight for single target and Anthropic Slam for AoE. Note that it's a very basic rotation that you will do most of the time, and obviously you will be doing other things depending on the fight. Since your party is not unkillable, you will have to press like shields, instant cast mending, and obviously gaze for the healing burst it provides. Now we can talk about the talent tree. Dark Prophet is a must, since it's your best healing output. Every heals you do with Abyssal Command will be replicated to 2 allies. For example, if you do 2k heals on a target, your party will be healed by that amount. It also allows your Black Blood to crit. For the next row, we will have 2 real choice: Hand of Yogg-Saron or Void Barrier. Do you need an external for your tank? Take Hand of Yogg, that gives a 15% damage reduction. Do you want to cast big shields? Void Barrier is for you. When you press your beautiful and handsome Herald, your next Void Shield within 10 seconds will be doubled. Note that it only works once every 45 seconds. Next up, we have 3 nodes. Dark Reservoir and Vision of the Empire boost the healing of Eldritch Mending and Abyssal Covenant. Dark Chance allows us to stack Black Blood an additional time and also reduce the cast time of Forbidden Ritual. Dark Veil will be our next big node, which gives us an emergency cooldown when we are out of CDs. Dark Veil is a shield over time that scales up to 10k over 5 seconds. At the end of the duration, you will be teleported to the target position. You are immune to stuns and silence while channeling the spell. Saronite Cube makes our melee abilities reduce the duration of Racket Mine from all allies in 30 yards. Next, we get a shield buff by 50%, 10% increase AP and mana, and a 10% crit chance on Blade of the Empire during Herald of the Depth. You can switch up Forbidden Strength for Forbidden Resilience if you think you are taking too much damage during Herald. As the Prophecy Foretold makes melee crit give back 5% mana and 1 charge of Blade of the Empire. Saronite Man gives us an additional instant cast on Eldritch Eye. If you think you don't need it, you can take Corrupt Fate for a 60-second reduction CD on Dark Veil instead. Finally, we get all the base healing abilities. Malevolence applies the Black Blood buff on allies. Shadow Penance makes melee hits heals the lowest HP ally. Blade of Yogg-Saron makes Blade of the Empire heal the lowest ally for 70% of the damage dealt. Obviously we get Abyssal Covenant, since it's the pillar of the spec. Malevolent Power gives a free instant cast on Eldritch Mending every third melee ability. Note that the buff doesn't stack more than once. For the melee abilities, we have Blade of the Empire, Malevolence, Hammer of Twilight, and Entropic Slam. For the class tree, we have an AoE kick and a vanish that removes roots and slow. Lastly, Black Prayer and Split Mine, that respectively boost your damage and makes your Volt Shield shield an additional ally. Now for the gearing part and the stat prio. I will have a link to the best gear you can get outside of world bosses and reputation, because I personally don't like this content. The gearing is pretty simple, you want maximum crits and AP. You could take some intellect to get a good mana pool, so you don't have to sanity tap every 2 GCD, but since we have the talents that give your mana back after each melee crit, there is no need to be stacking intellect. The number 1 item on your list will be your weapon. Every ability can scale based on your melee, so we want a good weapon with a high damage value and as slow as possible. Some say that you should be stacking SP and intellect, but the only spells that do scale around it are shields, gaze, and eldritch mending. In my opinion, it's unnecessary, since we don't really press those. As a melee, our focus should be towards AP and crits. Well guys, I think we are at the end of the guide, and I hope you now have a better understanding of the spec, because it can feel very intimidating at first and counterintuitive to gear like an actual DPS instead of your casual healer. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, I do stream on Twitch and there is a Discord server to get in touch. All the links will be down below. Au revoir.